Hello there. Welcome to the Final Guys Horror Podcast, the show where we definitely don't want you to send more paramedics, but we are always happy if you send us more beer. This week, I am your host, Jason Brant, and joined as always by two knuckleheads, Jack Campisi.
Oh, Jesus. Hello.
And horror author Hunter Shea.
Hello. How is everybody?
I am better. Work is done for the day. I get to talk to you lovely gentlemen about horror movies.
Yay.
Return of the Living Dead, in fact. This week, we're going to go into the all-time classic, maybe the greatest nude scene ever.
I might agree with you there.
I'm going to say no, and I'll tell you why when we get to it.
Oh, that's a bold statement. But before we get into everything, you guys have any news you want to drop? Anything new going on? Somewhere you're going?
I bought a Chia Pet, and you put it on your head instead of the clay thing, and literally 3 hours later, this is what you get. It's kind of awesome, man.
Oh, I thought that Rogaine was finally kicking in.
I use the Rogaine on my testicles because I want to go full 1972. So I'm wanting like a fully pop, Jiffy Pop going on.
So for people who are listening to this on iTunes, Hunter is dressed like Brett Summers from 1970s Match Game right now with a like salt and pepper women's wig and sunglasses on.
My wife is so fat, she has to wear blank to the supermarket.
Wow.
It's a little disturbing looking at you right now.
Yeah, you've got a dress to kill vibe going.
That's what it's all about, man. Well,
all right.
Charlie Manson.
Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Almost Trick or Treat. Who? Gene Simmons and Trick or Treat.
Oh,
Did you see that?
Yeah,
good
nice.
Lord.
All right. Before we do, for those of you who are new, we have a little drinking game we do here every week because we are degenerates and we are terrible at this job. So we repeat a lot of the same things often. And every time we do, and you hear these words, you need to take a drink. They change weekly. So, Hunter, what are we drinking to this week?
Yeah, I like to say most of these words have never come out of our mouths. They come out of Sheridan's addled brain. Jack's tonight is All I Got, Manson, or Classic. Oh, I said Manson. Mine is Balls In, Hooper, and Brains. Jason's is Turkey, Pumped, and Budget. And then as a bonus, anyone could say Send More or Superman's Hairy Lip.
Oh, I can cover that one.
I bet
He does
you
a
would like
good
to
job
cover his lip.
mixing those in there. I do say budget at least 18 times an episode. So, as always, thank you, Sheridan. Let's get into a little bit of horror news. What do you think there, Jacko?
I think I can help with that.
Balls
Please
in.
don't make me upset.
So first of all, everybody get your drinks ready because not only did Charles Manson die this week, to which Gilbert Gottfried wrote, I don't want to write an insensitive tweet, so I'll just say thoughts and prayers go out to Charles Manson or something like that.
Oh, I saw that. That was
Condolences. It was something like that. It was hilarious. Well, some Charles Manson movie-related news also came out this week. So, as you may know, Quentin Tarantino is working on a movie that is somehow related to the Manson murders, and a little more news came out about it. So, here's what's going on. Here's the kind of synopsis. Set in Los Angeles in the summer of 1969, Tarantino's upcoming movie focuses on a male TV actor who had a one-hit series and is looking for a way to get into the film business. His sidekick, who is also his stunt double, is looking for the same thing. The horrific murder of Sharon Tate and 4 of her friends by Charles Manson's cult of followers serves as the backdrop to the main story. So,
well, at least it's not a Western.
Yeah. Some of the people that he's trying to get to be in this movie is Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate.
Ooh.
Oh, that's perfect.
And he's courting Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tom Cruise, hoping to get those some combination of them as the TV actor and the stunt guy.
Please stay away from Tom Cruise.
Yeah, no kidding. There is supposedly $100 million budget for this.
Oh, it's Tarantino, so
it's going to start shooting in June.
Wow, he's really swinging for the fences, huh?
Yeah.
Well, half that budget is going towards paper for all the dialogue that he's got to print up.
Yeah. I am glad that they're not just doing a biotopic or movie like Helter Skelter about the Manson murders. I'd rather see something like this that's in the shadow of it or has that in the picture, but not the main focus.
It's Tarantino. I'm in.
You know what's scary? Now, I love Tarantino. I have not seen the last two movies he's done. Django Unchained or The Hateful Eight. I haven't watched it. And I'm waiting for this like party and stuff to throw to watch this. It's gonna get to the point where I'm gonna have a party watching 4 of these.
Well, nothing says party and gets you in a cheery mood like watching a Tarantino film.
With the people I know, yes, this is our porn.
They're both good movies. They're both long movies, and Hateful Eight, I watched it once, and I don't know if I ever need to see it again.
That's how I felt about Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah. Whereas Pulp Fiction, I'll watch every night if you had it on. You know what I mean? So, all right. So moving on from, I don't know how many times I said Manson in that last segment. But.
They're officially dead. You Hooper, you balls in.
Now I have a little Christmas present for the two of you and anybody else out there who likes Tubby Time. Because it's word on the street is that Creep 2 is coming to Netflix on December 23rd. So we could have waited it out and not paid extra to see it, but we would have had to wait till December 23rd. But if you're one of those people that hasn't seen Creep 2 yet and you don't want to spend $4 to watch this movie, it's coming to Netflix. Sometimes it's good to wait because you're always waiting for something good to come to Netflix. This is definitely the movie to watch.
I was going to wait, but I still have to watch it this week. It's one of my planned Thanksgiving weekend movies to watch.
Creep 2?
Yeah, I missed it when I wasn't on that episode.
Oh, you still haven't seen it?
No.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you got to see it.
I was just going to say, we can't wait for things to come on Netflix because we're on the bleeding edge of horror here.
Yeah.
But apparently Hunter is not on the edge. It's about 3 weeks behind the edge.
Look, I was cramming in movies for Horror-tober, and I don't know. I wore myself out.
Okay, and the death of Charles Manson is not the only end that we're seeing this week. NBC Universal has announced that it is ending the Chiller channel, which is
I don't care.
That's still on? I had no idea.
It is still on till January, and so Chiller's right in like the area of my TV channels near a couple of other things that I happen upon so often. So I'll see stuff on there, but there's commercials. So I'll start watching something, and then as soon as a commercial comes on, I'm gone.
And they're so highly edited. And their movie curation is terrible. So I gave up on that channel a long time ago. I'm like Jason. I didn't know it was still around. Jack's choking on a wiener dog.
Yeah. I use the cough button like a professional radio person.
Oh, I thought your internet cut out. I was like, shit.
Nah, I saw him coughing.
Okay, so basically,
luckily you two idiots didn't step up and start talking.
I said something. I said what you were doing. I called attention to it.
Yeah, perfect, you idiot. Go on, Jason.
Yeah, R.I.P. Chiller.
R.I.P. Chiller. And that's all I got.
But luckily, Chiller Theater Convention is still around. That's all that matters.
I'm not going to lie. I did not know that was connected.
They're not.
One interesting note, they did have a series called Slasher that supposedly is pretty good, and that is now on Netflix.
I was going to say.
So we don't need it. We really don't need Chiller.
No, we don't.
When Chiller came out, there was another station that came out at the same time, at least in the New York area, that was so much better. They had really good movies. They had a lot of their ads looked a lot like the Creepshow comic book stuff. It was phenomenal, and I can't remember the name of it because it was only around for like a year. I wept when that one disappeared, but it was so long ago. I drank it all away.
I remember what you're talking about, and I also don't remember the name.
Yeah, that's sad.
Anyway, that's all I got. Let's talk movies.
All right. Hunter, did you watch anything interesting this week?
I don't know if I watched anything interesting, but I watched things this week. I had to, get out of my horror hiatus. I cleansed my palate. I watch a lot of Meg Ryan movies. A little bit of Demi Lovato I listened to.
Jesus Christ. You're depressing me.
Demi Lovato is a treasure. Well, speaking of upbeat movies, I watched a movie that you guys have, I think you've both seen this. I know, Jason, you saw it. This is a laugh riot on Netflix. I swear to God, I almost busted a gut. 1922.
The feel-good movie of the year.
Oh, we laughed and laughed and laughed. It is freaking depressing. I mean, there's not one bright moment in that entire movie. It's gray. It's so gray.
I have not watched it because I heard that it was that, and then Jason, you kind of said that, and I don't have any gumption to watch something that depressing. Is it worth watching?
It's fantastic.
It's a great movie.
But I describe it as the end of The Mist for an hour and a half.
Yeah. First of all, what's his name?
Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane. You wouldn't even know it was him. And it took me a while. And my wife was going, "That's not him." I'm like, "It is him." She's like, "No, it's not." His transformation, both in appearance and the way he spoke, unbelievable. Out of all the King movies that have been out this year, that's the single best performance by an actor. But
yeah, he was fantastic.
It's rough. It's a must watch. I think it might make my top 13 list.
Might for me too.
Because it's solid. So give it a shot. It's on Netflix.
I'm never watching it again.
If it's making both of your top lists, I'm probably not watching it.
Yeah. If you're on the verge of suicide, don't let it go. This isn't going to help you. Another movie I watched was by a recommendation by a copywriting guru and author, Bob Bly. He told me one of his favorite sci-fi movies stars Boris Karloff called The Devil's Commands. Either of you ever hear of this?
Nope.
No.
He's a scientist who creates this apparatus that can puts it on like an assistant, a guy puts this big helmet on. Of course, there's electrodes and crap going on, and you can supposedly communicate with the dead, which is all well and good until his wife dies, and then he goes over the bend and starts collecting dead bodies. So the best part is he's got this room, and it looks like the old diving masks that are sitting on their heads, and there's all these dead bodies. You can kind of see their dead faces through the little glass, and then when he hits the switch, they all kind of jump up and start moving, and you can hear his wife's dead voice wafting in the room.
Ah.
It's really weird. I had to rent it on YouTube because you can't find it anywhere else. But I think it was $2.99 on YouTube. And then I almost went down a rabbit hole. I saw all these other movies, old movies that I hadn't seen. I was like, oh, no, go to bed. But a Karloff forgotten classic. It should be a classic because it's sci-fi, but to me it's horror because when you have everyone surrounded by dead bodies that are kind of like dancing around like marionettes and hearing dead voices, I thought that was really cool. So check that out. And then when that was done, I went to Small Town Monsters. Now we know that they've done these documentaries on the Mothman and the Boggy Creek Monster. Well, they now have these 7 and 8 minute little mini episodes called Case Files. It's a cool series. I watched, I think, with the first 3. So the first one had Indrid Cold, who is a man who was kind of part of the Mothman event. They had a little bit of Boggy Creek after that, and then there was another incident. I think this is the one that happened. God, it was somewhere in the 70s, but it was a Bigfoot thing. If you have Amazon Prime, they're free. And like I said, they're only like 7-8 minutes long, but they're professionally produced. They look slick. They got some pretty good interviews. Boom, you got some time to kill. Pop one on. You'll be happy you watched it. So Small Town Monsters, killing it. They've got a whole bunch of other more episodes coming up, and they have more docs coming up too. So
That's a cool idea. I like what they're doing.
Yeah, Seth Breedlove is getting better and better too with each of these, and I think he's getting more access to people because he's got a little more clout. So it's definitely he's someone to keep an eye on, and his entire series is awesome. So there you go, ladies and gents.
How much are those?
What'd you say?
How much are those to watch?
Free if you have Prime.
Yay!
There you go.
Excellent. All right, Jack, do you see anything of interest?
I did. First of all, I watched a
It's
kind of a murder thriller movie with Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen of the Avengers fame called Wind River. And this is a movie that came out this year.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner, did you see it?
I wanted to. It looked really good.
It's really good. He's a like gaming commission guy out in like Wyoming. And there's this Indian reservation where a girl's body is found out in the, in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And so Elizabeth Olsen is this rookie FBI agent who comes out to investigate it. And then there's a murder to solve. It's very enjoyable. I liked it a lot. I wanted to see that in the theater when it came out. And so I pulled the trigger on it this week and was thoroughly entertained the whole time. So I recommend it.
Cool.
I've been wanting to see that.
It's not horror, but
no, it's in the genre, just like sci-fi. It's under the umbrella.
Can't be horror all the time. That came and went really fast too, which was surprising.
Then, in honor of you two, I've watched Found Footage 3D.
Are you going to be the middleman on this one?
I watched it in 2D. I don't know if you guys actually watched it.
Just 2D.
2D. I watched it in 1D.
I don't remember where you guys fell on this, but I thought that movie was a piece of crap.
So now I'm the middleman. Jason loved it. One of his favorite found footage. I said it was okay. They thought the last half was horrendous, and you think it's crap. So there you go. I'm in the middle.
The whole gamut.
Yeah, just a piece of crap. Unlikable characters, terrible acting.
See, I thought the acting that was a little better than most.
No,
I'm not going to convince you.
No, just in retrospect, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I didn't really. The effects for the.
I agree on that.
I'm really glad I didn't pay to see it.
I hope they're watching this so they can put this on the poster. Yeah.
I kind of wish I'd watched it. I must have 3D glasses laying around here somewhere and tried to watch. Actually, I probably do for my TV. I don't know if it would actually work or not. Maybe that would make it better. The main character was such a douche.
Right. Yeah.
He wasn't like the likable kind of douche like Ari from Entourage. He was just a unlikable. I felt like he was a Fear the Walking Dead kind of character. It's just like,
or a Walking Dead character at this point, right?
See, I just saw him as comic relief. I thought the guy was hilarious because he was such an ass. Like, he just made me laugh.
So, I also went out and saw Justice League in the theater.
I can't wait for this verdict.
Better you than me, brother.
My first reaction was they made a Super Friends movie and they didn't include the Wonder Twins. They missed a huge opportunity here. Hunter, you should never see this movie. You're going to hate it.
There's not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
Jason, you should wait for cable and then see it so that you can complain. This is a very interesting movie because there's a lot of people who love this movie, a lot of people who hate this movie. And I can understand why, if you're a DC, fanatic, they tried to course correct the DC universe from all this dark, dreary stuff that they were doing. So you can see where halfway through this movie, Zack Snyder was pulled out and Joss Whedon was put in. And so Joss Whedon took the characters, punched up the dialogue, made everything cheerier, color treated it so that costumes were brighter, and did specific things in the movie that DC fans are going to be like, I've always been waiting for Batman to do this, or oh my God, I finally got the Flash to do that on screen. However, it is wrapped in such a dumb movie full of bad CG that what you end up, for me as a superhero movie fan, I walked out going, well, at least they are trying to fix this, but it's still a mess. But there's some really good moments in it. There's some good visuals. The Flash is really funny. Jason Momoa is the best thing they could have done for Aquaman. Gal Gadot is phenomenal. Ben Affleck looks a little bit bored as Batman, but he's okay.
He Clooney'd it.
Did the Batsuit have nipples?
Did not have nipples. I thought the Cyborg character was horrible. I know I'm reading reviews where they're like, "Oh, he's so good." Just the dumb powers that, and this character I didn't give a crap about, and I've never really thought much about the Cyborg character to begin with. Superman's in it, as you know, and that's where the drinking game with Superman's hairy lip. When Henry Cavill was brought back for reshoots, he had a mustache for Mission Impossible, and Paramount wouldn't let him shave it, so they had to CG his upper lip for some scenes.
Oh my God.
So there are some certain scenes where you can totally see that is, and now that you know this, you'll look for it when you see it.
It's just like Cesar Romero wouldn't shave his mustache when he played the Joker, so they had to put makeup all over it to make sure you could.
They should have just done that. They should have, like, when Superman comes back from the dead, he should just have a mustache and be like, yeah, I was in heaven with Freddie Mercury and I like the look or something.
Nothing really matters.
We were singing We Are the Champions. So anyway, I don't want to give away too much, but the way they brought back Superman, I thought was pretty dumb.
You gave away enough. Trust me.
So for me, people who just want to go see a big, dumb movie with a couple of cool scenes, yeah, but the Justice League deserves better than this. At the same time, if there's any hope for this freaking DC universe, this is the baby steps. Like, Wonder Woman is so far ahead of everything else they've done. I like it better than Batman and Superman, although it's a lot dumber. But it's the worst villain in the history of comic book movies. And the Green Lantern Cloud was a better villain than this guy.
Oh God,
he looks like a video game character.
Well, this is tough because it's tough to swap a director out, especially a big director out for another big director. This is two people with very unique visions, and then you try to mash it. I mean, Zach can help it.
Yeah,
I think
their styles couldn't be further apart either.
Yep.
I think Joss Whedon, I give him credit because I really think what he did was say, what do fans want to see? And there's some banter in there that's good. A little of it's forced, but you could be like, okay, DC fans want to see Batman do this. And he does some cool Batman stuff. Then there's some stuff, the plot's just so dumb, but it's 2 hours and it's just so much of it is rushed that what Marvel's been doing for 12 years, that they're building up to this Infinity Gauntlet, these guys are doing in their 5th movie with no explanation of anything.
Right.
Like, if they had just they should have done an Aquaman movie first. They should have done a Flash movie first and built up to, like, this whole Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman in the second movie is ridiculous. So for you two, Jason, I can't wait till you see it because we'll have a lot of laughs. Hunter, you shouldn't even see it for 5 seconds.
I wouldn't even watch the coming attractions.
But, like, my friend liked it, but she is not a diehard superhero person and just likes a big entertaining thing where she sees Wonder Woman.
It looked pretty.
The way you described it, it's going to be difficult for me because I liked how dark the DC movies were compared to the Marvel movies. It was just different, and I didn't want to see more Marvel movies. So they did a lot of the stuff they did was not good, but I liked what they were trying to do. So hearing that they're adding like a bunch of shitty comedic dialogue like bums me out. And if they're like brightening it and adding colors and God damn it.
There's a lot of bad CG in it.
And honestly, that's why I didn't want to see it for the most part. Was I thought the CG looked terrible in the trailers, and that's supposed to be the best part. So I had no interest in seeing it, and I liked Batman vs Superman kind of. So yeah, I was their demo.
This was way more fun than Batman Superman, and I'll watch this again for a specific. Like I said, the guy who plays the Flash does a really good job. He's funny, and you sort of can be in the writer's room, like seeing like it was obvious that he should be the funny one.
Well, we've now given a shit movie more attention than it ever deserved.
The last movie I saw, we can move on, is a vampire movie called Hunted, which is a few years old.
Why do I feel like I saw that?
It also had an alternate title called Rufus. It's
there, that's much better.
It's got a little bit of Martin, a little bit of Let the Right One In, and this isn't going to come off right. There's a little bit of Twilight in this, in that there's like romance, but it's not anything like Twilight, but just elements of the vampire human romance. It's an interesting movie, but it's not a great movie. It's this kid who is a vampire moves to this town, and he's kind of on the run, and he ends up living with his family and having relationships with a girl and some other people in the town. And then there's this guy who's sort of on the hunting him down. And so all the pieces are in place for a pretty interesting movie, but it's just a little bit dull. There's moments of greatness in it, and there's a lot of cool stuff that they did, but it just kind of moves. The pacing is off. So it's worth a watch, but kind of like it could have been a home run and they hit more like a double.
All right. Well, double's better than.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty good movie, but it's not a great movie.
Where did you see it?
I think it's on Prime.
Okay. I'll check that out.
I was looking at my neighbor's window, and there it was.
And that's all I got.
I feel like maybe that's on my list. Maybe that's why I was feeling like I saw it. But what you just described doesn't ring a bell. So, all right. Let's see. I'll pound through what I watched here quick. I watched The Substitute, a short film on Shudder. It was about a teacher who takes a job, young female teacher who takes a job as a substitute at a private it's not all boys, at a private school that does some weird things where they favor the boys over the girls. And you can tell right away something really weird and bizarre is going on. And it's maybe 20 minutes, so I can't describe much without giving spoilers, but it just kind of reminded me of the fun things we used to see on Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt or something like that. A little 22-minute horror nugget that was a ton of fun. It was shot well. It's great. So anyone with Shudder, check out The Substitute.
Does Kevin Spacey play the headmaster?
No.
And Charlie Rose is in charge of the girls' school. I want to interview you.
Then I watched the movie Residue on Netflix.
Oh, tell me how that is, because I put it on my list because the poster art looked cool.
Yeah, that's exactly why I watched it. Is the image they have is a demon's face lit like he's standing in the sun. I'm like, wait, that's not how you light horror stuff. Like, what the hell? So I wanted to watch it to see how weird it was, and it was weird. It got difficult to follow at times. It was a cool idea, though. It's a book that if you can read into, as you read it, things start going crazy in your life. You start losing time. You start seeing things. Crazy stuff happens. There's some weird time distortion things that happen, and it seems that almost nobody can get through this book. So there's some kind of weird conspiracy going on. There's a private detective who gets the book and is trying to read it, and some of the stuff in it works really well. The humor can be pretty on point at times. Some of the acting's good. There's a couple really cool gore effects. But damn, I had a hard time following what the hell was going on, particularly at the end. So for completists like us, it's worth a watch, but I don't know how much of a recommendation I can give. There's some cool stuff here. I would be curious, even if maybe I watched it again, if I would be able to follow a little more. But for now, it's a Netflix movie.
So it's not a Captain Underpants sequel.
It is not, unfortunately.
With just flow. Residue.
Then I watched Lace Crater on Shudder. This is a movie about a woman who has sex with a ghost and contracts some kind of a ghost STD. So,
what's this
there
like?
you
It
go.
follows.
Kind of, but not as entertaining.
Herpes.
Imagine It Follows without the action and way slower paced and no budget.
And
There you
hot
go,
burning
Sheridan.
pee.
Got it in there.
How's
You know,
the ghost
if you're okay
sex
with
scene?
if you're okay with slow burn movies, then you might like this. The acting is great in it. It actually kind of elevates the movie for me, maybe beyond making it a little more entertaining than maybe it even should have been. But you know, if I could think of something in a similar kind of vein, it would be, oh God, what was that called? Jack, you're the one who told me to watch it, with the woman has sex with someone and contracts like zombie-itis or whatever and starts turning into a zombie. Contracted. Yes. God, I think I even said the word in that sentence.
You did.
It was like that, but with ghosts and without the crazy gore and maggot vagina scene.
When she has sex with a ghost, is it her pantomiming with nobody on top of her, or is it a like ghost becomes a real guy, or is it like Demi Moore and Swayze? Or explain, give us a visual here.
It was a ghost wearing burlap sacks. Takes the fabric off his head and you see his face, and he looks pretty much like a dude, but when they have sex, he's still wearing the burlap sacks. So,
oh my God. Oh my God.
I wish he would look like Charlie Brown ghost with the holes.
I think I'm going to skip that one and watch A Rare and Pleasant Stranger again.
I'm making it sound worse than it was. It legitimately was not a bad movie. The main actress was really great in it. The idea is a little weird. The stuff with the ghost is weird. But again, the acting, I feel like, made it better than I expected it to be. So it's not a bad little film. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, too, counting credits. So there you go.
Perfect.
And finally, on YouTube, I found a channel that has a shitload of clips from the show MonsterVision that was on TNT in the 90s, hosted by Joe Bob Briggs. So I just had that on in the background all freaking week. I was so happy. That honestly, that's one of the shows that really got me into horror. The first time I ever saw Night of the Living Dead, and the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead was on that when I was, God, I don't even know, 12. It was on, and it was or 10, I don't know what the hell I was, and I caught it, and it fascinated me, and I loved it. So Joe Bob Briggs has played like a huge part in me becoming a horror fan. And the guy even loves B cinema like I do. He just knows all the shittiest movies and can talk about them. And the guy's hilarious. He gives breast counts when he does horror movies, body part counts, everything. The guy is a genius. He's hilarious. And he had great guests on. I actually saw he had Linnea Quigley on in the 90s. He had all kinds of great guests. And I wish Netflix would pick something like this up now. You know, if you could get someone like Joe Bob, who's hilarious and a great comedian, to maybe present movies that a lot of people wouldn't have seen or wouldn't bother checking out. But he's such a great curator, almost like we're doing here right now. But but it's someone with talent.
You know, if you live by Jack and I, he pops up at the Alamo Theater every now and then.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I might have to make a trip up there then. I don't really care about seeing you guys, but if I could meet Joe Bob.
No, we're not even going to acknowledge you're near. We'll sit like right behind you, not even say anything.
Just ignore the tapping at your window.
Let me in.
I believe the channel was Joseph Biggers. I could be remembering that incorrectly, but if any of you grew up watching MonsterVision, or he had another show on, I think, the movie channel, Joe Bob's Drive-In or something like that.
Yes.
This guy has all kinds of clips on there. You can't, as far as I know, you can't find this stuff anywhere else. So if you want to check it out, it's really good stuff. Kind of an early precursor to Final Guys, and so bad it's good. All rolled in one.
That's right.
But with more breasts. So there you have it. That was my week.
It's a good week.
Now let's jump into the all-time classic, Return of the Living Dead. Gentlemen, did you see this when it came out in theaters, or did you have to wait for video?
Saw it in theaters.
I did not see it in theaters, but I saw it like as soon as it came out. It never came to a theater near me, but so we got it on video.
I saw it at the Bronxville Theater. I remember I saw it. I saw the latest show I could, and then when that was over, I went to the next one because it had 3 theaters in there, and I saw Pink Floyd The Wall for the midnight movie. It was a great night at the movies.
So when you saw it in the theater, did you like it as much seeing it the first time as you do now, or did it kind of grow on you?
It blew me away when I saw it in the theater because it gave me the gore that I liked in Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead, but I had never seen anything like it before. It was like, it was revolutionary. I was like, holy crap, they made a funny zombie movie, but it was also creepy and it was bloody. My friend and I were just humming over that movie. I think we saw it like 4 times that weekend. So yeah, I dug it, and I love it even more now. Now I love it for the movie, and I love it when I just think back of the nostalgia with it.
What about you, Jack?
I loved it from the moment I saw it. And the thing is, I think this movie's reputation as a comedy grew with time because it was definitely looked at as a horror comedy, but it was a scary movie. And it's aged a bit, so it feels way more 80s than when you were in the 80s. But this is the movie where fast zombies first happened, and this was where all the rules of zombies had been established in all the Romero movies, and now suddenly you couldn't kill these things, and they kept coming, and so it was relentless.
That's what made it so much scarier than anything else, because what could you do?
So it never got the credit that the Romero movies did, but this movie, like, it has a huge stamp on the genre, and so I loved it. We were just blown away. It being funny was just made you love it that much more. But again, yeah, I had to go rent it to watch it over and over again. So I'd watch it and then I'd see it a year later. So like it was one of those ones that we would keep revisiting, but it's not like now where I can just pop it on anytime I want.
Hey, Jack, were you flipped out that it was a horror movie starring the Pathmark guy?
Yes.
Because James Caron in the movie, who runs the warehouse, he's still alive. He's 96. So's Clu Gulager. They're both still alive. But
wow.
At least in the New York tri-state area, they did Pathmark, a supermarket, and they did commercials, and he was the Pathmark guy. And I just the whole time I'm going, the fucking Pathmark guy is...
He's also the dude in Poltergeist that
yes,
you moved the bodies, but not the tombstones, but not the bodies. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's so great in this movie too. Oh,
I can't even remember honestly the first time I saw this. God, it must have been junior high or earlier. It was after I saw the Night of the Living Dead movies, and I think I was going through them. I think I saw Dawn and Day before this, and then I watched this. And I'm going to be honest, this might be my favorite zombie movie. I'm not saying it's the best one. That's probably Dawn, if I had to just put them in order. But the movie I go back to watch the most is probably this, because it's hilarious. It's got great gore. It has great timing. It has Linnea Quigley, the greatest scene of all time.
It has a great soundtrack.
The soundtrack's beautiful. I mean, it's just such an awesome movie, and I love it to death. And I just appreciate it more and more as I watch it. I see some little funny thing, I feel, every time I watch it that maybe I didn't notice before.
When you were saying that, watching it this time, I actually, in my head, started to go. So I think my 3 favorite zombie movies are Dawn of the Dead, this, and Shaun of the Dead.
Well, I was going to say, to me, this is the first Shaun of the Dead. A great zombie movie that's hilarious. This preceded that. This preceded the Dawn of the Dead remake with the running zombies. And this was kind of the first one to really hit a lot of stuff in the genre and to really turn a lot of the tropes on their head.
And it's where Brains came from.
Brains. Yes. The little known fact is where Brains came from. So you mentioned the performances, and I'm going to be honest, I have trouble remembering all the dumbass character names in this.
That's why I have IMDb up.
Yeah,
That's why I
they're all
have
like,
YouTube.
it's all like one names like Bert, Frank, Bernie.
Well, there's Bert and Ernie, and it turns out the guy wrote it didn't even realize he did that.
How how he did that, I'll never know.
So I know there's Freddie and Frank and Bert
Spider.
and Ernie and Spider and
Scuzz, Trash. Linnea Quigley is trash. Suicide.
You know what I noticed this time around? Who's the nerdy guy who's with the girl who's like, you'd really like to sleep with me, wouldn't you?
Oh,
God. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
I never noticed how like wet he was the whole time.
So I watched this down in my theater this time, and my God, the punk people, I put quotes on that because whoever put them in costumes never seen anything punk in their lives. They are sweating so badly in that freaking cemetery. I mean, they're just dying.
That's why Linnea took off all her clothes.
So let's get into the performances a little bit. Obviously, you have Linnea. I don't know what we could say that has not been said.
I can tell you something.
A lot of people became men watching this scene.
So the reason why that is not the greatest naked scene ever, I watched a documentary about this. She's wearing a prosthetic vagina.
Oh, she's wearing
which is hilarious because it makes it look more lewd than had she actually been fully nude.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can get it on YouTube. There's a great documentary about this. And they go through the whole, like, they were doing it, then they got stopped, and they had to. So they go through this whole thing, and she's wearing the prosthetic, which you're right. It probably looks worse.
Yeah, had she been rocking the 80s fur bikini, it wouldn't have looked as crazy as it looks in the final movie.
There's a cool thing they do with that. And Jack, you'll remember in the 80s, remember the big fear was acid rain?
Yes.
And this brought acid rain into a horror. I think it's the only time I've seen acid rain brought into a horror movie like that, which is cool. But you had to be alive then to.
Michael Jackson's Thriller took so many things right from this movie. The graveyard from this is basically Thriller.
100%. So speaking of the other performances, one I really appreciated this time around. Oh God, I can't remember his name. It was the black guy who survives the longest. I can't remember his character's name. Can't remember any of them. That guy is so freaking funny in this movie, and he is completely the voice of reason for about the last half. Everyone else is doing dumb shit, and he's like, help me barricade the door, you motherfuckers. Like, trying to hold the zombie out, and everyone's running away.
It's funny you say, all right, one of the things that every time I see this, I'm reminded, this is the most realistic movie as to how people would react if zombies really happened. Because everybody is losing. Oh, Jesus, God, what the hell are they doing? Oh, my God, we got to get the hell out of here. Oh, my. When the arm grabs the mortician guy by the thing, and he's like, well, get it off me, get it off me. Like, everybody is like panicking and scared and freaking out and fighting with each other. And Pathmark Guy and Freddy are the best, too, because they're just like, what the fuck is that? Oh, Jesus. And they're...
Yeah, the oh, Jesus guy, if you were to drink every time he says Jesus or God throughout that movie,
then you gotta watch him because he's great. Then they get sick. When they get to the morgue and they're sick, and now like they're the whole first half of the movie, then they don't say much in the second half. But if you watch them, he's like just acting sick and shivering and stuff and selling it while he's not the focus of the thing. He's so great.
They made you feel sick watching them.
His freaking out / overacting when things start coming alive is just so goddamn funny.
That's a good question, Bert.
The other line,
trying to kill him. Keep going to get a stroke there, James.
The other line the black punker dude said that just killed me was I think it was when they had the zombie half on the table and she was explaining why they eat the brains, and he just goes, yo, fuck this, we need to talk, and like takes them in the other room. Like,
by the way, that guy was also that same year in Friday the 13th, A New Beginning.
Really? I don't remember.
He was the guy he was in the van and then he went in the shitter, the outhouse. Why there was an outhouse in there, and Jason killed him through the outhouse wall. He's been in a ton of horror movies.
What's his name? I was trying to look him up, but I can't remember his name in the movie.
It's Miguel Nunez Jr.
Ah, he was Spider. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he has been in a ton. So he was great. Even the big guy, the big white dude who's in all leather. How that guy could stand in the cemetery with Linnea Quigley naked, literally rubbing on his dick, and he's just pretending to not care. Like, that is acting, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I'm beginning to learn you have a thing for Linnea Quigley.
I do.
Is she your ideal?
She's just my favorite final girl, I think. She was always in crazy movies. Like, was it something in Slime Bowl-orama? And
oh yeah, she's done so much. It's crazy.
Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl.
Yes, and like Chainsaw Cheerleader, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Where they always have her completely naked, but she's playing it straight and serious. And I don't know. I just kind of liked the way she came up through movies. She did some good stuff.
You like the way you came up watching her in movies?
That helped. That helped.
The guy who played Freddy was at Chiller. My friend Jerry talked to him for a couple of minutes.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
The fact that these zombies won't die is the other thing, though, that just supercharges the movie, because there's no reprieve. Like when that freaking first zombie comes running out, the naked one.
Oh god!
From that moment on, that movie is just insane.
And that's still a great effect. The makeup work on that zombie it holds up. It's better than anything that you see today.
And I was thinking about the writing. This movie's so tight because basically, what do? It's 4th of July weekend. You need a medical supply. There's a cemetery and a mortuary, and everything happens right there. And every character is written with a purpose, and they go from point A to point B, and they've got reasons for why everything happens. It's a tight little movie.
What freaked us out, I remember most, was when they would send more paramedics or send more cops, and then you would see 100 of these zombies just run and just take them over. I remember the theater was like, holy shit! People were losing their minds over that.
So I watched this with a friend of mine who'd never seen it. And that was one of the scenes where I think he literally yelled, holy shit. When they set the trap for the cops, he was just like, oh my God, like they're all screwed. Like, you're not getting out of this.
Yeah,
it's great.
It made it creepy. That's what made it creepy, because it was just a perfect blend. Like Shaun of the Dead, I think, is really great, but to me, it's so far on the funny side. I never felt a threat. I never felt terror in it.
This movie probably has the most iconic character zombies. You've got the naked guy. You've got the tar man down in the basement who says brains. You've got the woman, the half torso, who talks. Which that scene, when I first saw this, I thought that was amazing. It's like, oh my God, a zombie talking and explaining why they're doing what they're doing. And it's to relieve the pain of being dead. I was like, that's brilliant. Like, that's so good. Because when you think about it, like, there's a few iconic zombies here and there. There's the Hare Krishna and the nurse. There's Bub. Yeah, there's a few.
I've got all their autographs.
Yeah. But this movie has like, 3 of the biggies.
There's such great little details too. The half woman on the table, she has spinal fluid leaking out as her spinal column's like flapping around. Like, just such good little stuff in this.
And then the one who says like it's either send more cops or send more paramedics, the guy's in like a Civil War uniform.
Yeah, like there'd be anything left of him to speak.
Jack, you were mentioning before we went on air about kind of the creation of this. Do you know the story from watching the documentary with Russo splitting off from Romero?
So Russo and Romero made Night of the Living Dead. Then they had a falling out. Romero held the rights to The Dead, and he held the rights to The Living Dead. So
the title phrasing.
Yeah. So Romero went his way, and then he wrote this, and then I think tried to get it made, and then it was garbage or something, and then the other guy came in, and assisted, and they got this made. That's my nice vague way of telling the story of this. But so when he tells the story of, remember Night of the Living Dead? Well, that's based on a true story. This guy's helped make that movie happen. So I love the relationship that this is a sequel to Night of the Living Dead just as much as the Romero movies are.
And I could be wrong, but I think after they split and they agreed to the terms of you get the dead and I get the living dead, when this movie's about to come out, didn't Romero and his team sue them anyway, like to try to stop it from coming out?
Oh, I don't know, probably.
There's like all kinds of craziness behind the scenes with this movie. But
you want to hear crazy? The director was Dan O'Bannon, who we all know was the man who wrote the Alien screenplay. It was his first and only one of 2 movies he ever directed.
What was the second one?
The second one was The Resurrected in 1991, which I don't remember.
I think I have a copy of that. I don't know if I've watched it, though.
But his writing credits, it's Alien, Dead and Buried, Heavy Metal, Return of the Living Dead, Life Force, Aliens, Total Recall, Alien 3. I mean, he did all the Aliens, just about.
Life Force. Wait a minute. Wasn't Toby Hooper supposed to direct Return of the Living Dead, but then went to do Life Force, which I guess would have been a Dan O'Bannon script?
You know what? They came out the same year, so that might be right.
I'm pretty sure this movie is going to get made because they got Toby Hooper attached. That'd be funny if he left this project to do a Dan O'Bannon script. So Dan O'Bannon did this, and we got 2 cool movies.
Incredible.
You know, what was another thing that when at the start of this movie that hooked me was when the gas comes out, the half dogs come back to life, and the butterflies.
Oh, the butterflies pegged on the pegboard.
Yeah, little stuff like that. When he's hitting the dog.
They nailed the dog thing so perfectly that my wife, who cannot stand any kind of movie violence against dogs, that didn't bother her because it was like so comedic and ridiculous. She was fine with it.
Their reaction to that, though, is like exactly, they were just like freaking out.
Did you make you wonder if most morticians wear holsters with guns, fully loaded guns, ready to shoot anybody? That was the weirdest thing.
Well, the guy looked like he should have been a member of the Third Reich, so it's not that surprising.
Oh, and you know what else I noticed? The tar man, the zombie, uses the hook and the chains and is getting leverage to force the door. I'm like, that's a smart zombie, man.
Yeah,
they were smart. That's why they were so terrifying.
I guess they couldn't remember how to drive cars, though, because none of them drove a car through the door to get to them. But we'll
I love the
fixate on that.
Oh, another piece of trivia I found out. So the Pathmark guy that puts himself in the crematorium at the end.
That's an awesome scene.
I guess he was supposed to turn to a zombie too and go outside and do stuff, but the actor didn't want to go out in the cold and raining, so they changed it and they wrote that for him. And I think that's better. That was
He was like 60 years old at the time. I don't blame him.
No, that was a great thing they did, because when everything's kind of getting crazy with Tom Matthews? What's the guy's name?
Freddie?
The one from
Tom Matthews. You got it right.
Yeah. He when he's freaking out about eating brains and stuff, the guy who burns himself just kind of like skips out the back door while everyone's fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, what's this guy going to do? And it's like,
right.
It's just such a great ending for him because he's been such a pussy through this whole thing. And then he makes a sacrifice at the end. It was pretty good.
I like how he hangs his wedding ring up on that little thing before he puts
it. It's a great detail.
And then when Freddy turns, again, the genuine horror. When I first saw that movie, when he turns, that's like a scary moment because he's gone from lovable Freddy to he's trying to kill them. And so, and then he gets it in the eyes. But like, again, it's a comedy, but that's like a really scary scene. Well done.
I like the part too, to bring her up one more time. When Linnea Quigley has turned and it's actually really well done. When she's coming out of the shadows towards the homeless man.
Yeah.
And you don't see her face, you just see her body, and she's got like this ridiculous hip sway. I don't know how she's not throwing her hips out of socket doing it. And the homeless man is just looking at her like, oh, and then he sees her face and it's like, oh shit. That was shot beautifully. Shadows and lighting, everything. It's such a well-made movie. It's hard to believe this was his first directorial effort.
and then he only did one more.
How?
It's crazy. It makes no sense unless he could. I just heard an interview with Oren Peli, who did Paranormal Activity. Now, grew up in Israel, never wanted to be a filmmaker. There wasn't even an ability to do that. And he did everything on this. Him, his ex-girlfriend, and a friend. They just kind of did it on a lark. And he hates making movies. It came across. That's why he doesn't direct anything else. He says, I'm perfectly happy being a stay-at-home dad. And anytime they brought up the process, he was like, nah. I didn't like it, really. He says, you know what? He says, when you win a marathon, it's not like you say, all right, I want to go run another. You just want to go lay down. So he's like, I'm done.
That's an interesting point, though. If you make something as amazing as Return of the Living Dead, it's going to be pretty hard to live up to that.
Yeah.
Well, then they made a sequel. They made a sequel that's basically a comedic retread of the first one.
I wanted to mention that. I saw that back in high school, and I remember just wondering, like, what the hell is this? Like the same thing. And Tom Massey is in it, but he's playing a different character or something.
The best line of that whole thing is the two of them. They play different characters, and there's one point where the Pathmark guy goes, "I don't know, there's something about this. You, me, them. That seems familiar." Something like that. He says.
Yeah, that was bad. And so was part 3.
I hated part 3. Oh my god.
Which was directed by Brian Yuzna, who was responsible for Reanimator, and
it's got that sexy redhead in it too, though, who was in Firefly and a lot of other stuff. I haven't seen that movie in forever, but the difference there was part 3 is not a comedy. It's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it didn't interest me all that much. I actually don't even remember hating part 2, just not understanding why it existed.
I got a kick out of it, but who needs it when you got part 1? But
yeah,
I
just never understood it. So
then there's 2 more sequels, and one's called like Necropolis or something, and then there's like Rage from the Grave or something. There's 2 more sequels that I have not seen. I've seen the trailers on, like Shudder or Prime or something like that, but I've never pulled the trigger on either one of them.
I gotta say, one of the best finds I had this fall was I found Return of the Living Dead on Blu-ray for $5.
Ooh,
in Best Buy. They did brand new cover art. They had like 20 different horror movies with the same artist. It looks like must have done really unique cover art for all of these. Really cool. $5 each was $5.
Was there any extras on it?
There's a few. There's a little bit on there, so it wasn't just straight movie and go pound sand.
I have the DVD, but on my Amazon box, I was going to dig out the DVD, but my Amazon box has this thing called Pluto TV that you get for free. So I looked on it, and Return of the Living Dead's on it. I'm like, oh, I'll just watch it on Pluto TV. Mm-hmm. I put it on. Well, Pluto TV has ads.
Oh.
And then I was trying to fast forward and rewind. Not the ads, just the movie. And the pause and rewind wouldn't work. And then I hit something and went off, and I'm like, F this, and I went back and dug out my DVD. It's like, thank you, Pluto TV, and good night.
Yeah, you don't get something for nothing.
I've never even heard of Pluto TV.
Well, it's there, and I won't be revisiting
kind of like
it.
The non-planet Pluto. It's there, but nobody really sees it.
If pause and rewind worked, maybe I'd give it a shot, but it was pretty weak.
That's basic functionality. Come on, people.
Come on.
Oh, well, Mr. Hooper.
All right, gentlemen. It sounds like we're all pretty unanimous, but I'll go first. You should own this. If you can find a Blu-ray for $5, I hate you. But it's worth so much more. If you haven't seen this, you have to. It's one of my favorite horror movies ever. I watch it every couple years, regardless. It's just brilliant. Definitely own it.
Hey, I love this movie so much. I found hair that approximated the length of my hair when I saw it, just so I could get all the warm, tingly fuzzies from the when was it? 1985. Oh my god, I was 17.
You kind of look like the torso zombie with that wig on.
I kind of feel like the torso zombie right now. So yeah, by all means, make this part of your collection. Yeah, this is one of the ones you have to own.
This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I can't. If I would love to watch this with somebody who has never seen it before, to see what they think. But for me, there's movies that I love. Jason, you said it. I could watch this one over and over and over again. I notice something different every time. It's a gem. I love it. Send more cops.
All right. Before we get out of here, I just want to say we're starting to put written movie reviews up on finalguys.com this week. So anyone listening, if you're interested, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Jason_Brant or Jack. Was it at Back and Jack?
Oh yeah, on Twitter at Back and Jack.
And don't bother with Hunter. Nobody cares. It's
F you.
At Hunter Shea 1. And just get a hold of us, and we can see if you want to put some stuff up. But right now we're just putting some written reviews up. If you guys like them, check them out. And I'll be putting the author reviews, the reviewers. Oh my God, my whiskey's almost gone.
Yeah.
We'll be putting the reviewers' information up there. So if you like their stuff, check it out. Some of them are authors themselves, so check out their work. And hopefully we'll get a nice little database going here. And if you guys also have any suggestions for movies you want us to watch coming up, because we're going to start hitting the slow season soon, hit us up on Twitter or email or something. Let us know about movies you want us to review, and we'll see what we can do.
And what's next week's movie?
Better Watch Out, the Christmas, I guess, nouveau classic, as they say it in Français.
Ooh, fancy.
As we're moving to the Christmas season, even though the Home Depot here put up the Christmas shit like 4 months ago. So everyone go check out Better Watch Out. It's on video on demand right now, right? I don't think it's at Netflix or anything yet.
FOD.
Yeah. So that will be next week. And for all you Americans, drink, eat, and be merry this Thanksgiving.
That's right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Turkey Day.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. See you.
I'm going to stuff you so
See ya.
hard, Jason. Stuff you like a bird.
Easy.
Bastard.
I don't know why I still do this.
Please turn this off.
Okay.